All right, so get ready because today we are diving into a recipe that is pure Oreo love. We are talking fudge, but not just any fudge.
Oh, no, no.
This deep dive is going to take us into like a double chocolate dreamland
I am so here for that.
because this recipe, it's not content with just one kind of chocolate.
Okay.
Oh no, it's giving us both milk chocolate and white chocolate.
The best of both worlds?
And you know they're both going to be packed with those like iconic cookie pieces, right?
Of course, because what would fudge be without Oreos? And what's really cool about this recipe is that it really highlights how versatile a good base can be.
Okay.
So it's the same recipe, essentially, for both the milk chocolate and the white chocolate.
Oh, interesting.
But there are these like subtle tweaks, like they use cooking spray for the white chocolate,
Huh?
which makes a huge difference in the final texture and how easy it is to work with.
Okay, that's already blowing my mind a little bit.
Right.
Before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's talk about the star of the show, the Oreos.
Yes.
There's actually some real, like, wisdom in how this recipe approaches the cookie crumble.
Okay.
It's not just a frou-for-all in the food process.
Oh, good, because that's usually my technique.
Right.
Just like whatever.
Just pulverize them.
Exactly.
But this recipe has me rethinking my ways.
Okay.
Because it specifically says to not overcrush them.
Interesting. Why is that? What's the deal with that?
I don't know. That's what I want to know.
Okay, well, I think it's all about texture,
Okay.
right? So think about biting into a chunk of fudge
Okay.
and getting that, like, really satisfying crunch of Oreo.
Yeah.
If you overcrush them, it would just create this, like, homogeneous blend.
Right.
And you'd lose those, like, little bursts of Oreo flavor in every bite.
So we're talking bigger Oreo chunks.
Yes.
For a bigger flavor experience.
Exactly. It's about those, like, delightful pockets of Oreo goodness that we want.
Yes.
That we want to be able to find and, like, really sink our teeth into.
Yes.
They shouldn't just disappear into the chocolate.
Okay.
It's almost like this recipe is encouraging us to be more mindful about how we approach each ingredient.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown.
Good.
This isn't just fudge.
Right.
It's culinary philosophy.
Exactly.
But seriously, like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now I have to know.
Yeah.
What's the deal with this tart shaper trick for crushing the Oreos?
Oh.
Is that really necessary? Like, do I need to go out and buy one more thing for my kitchen?
So I don't think it's about needing a specific tool as much as it is about the technique.
Okay.
Right. The recipe creator mentions a tart shaper, but they also say a Ziploc bag and a rolling pin will work too.
Okay.
Or even just your hands.
Oh.
The key is to just aim for that ideal Oreo crumble.
Okay.
Not too fine, not too chunky.
So it's more about the crushing technique than like the tool itself.
I got it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I have to ask,
Yeah.
why even crush them separately for the topping? Can't we just use the same crushed Oreos for everything?
You absolutely could.
Okay.
But I think this is where that extra step
Okay.
really elevates the fudge.
Okay.
Using a slightly coarser crush for the topping
Mm-hmm.
adds a bit more visual appeal. And it guarantees those like satisfyingly chunky Oreo pieces on top.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right. Remember what we said about those bursts of flavor?
Yes.
This ensures you get them right from the first bite,
Okay.
and it makes your fudge look even more irresistible.
Presentation is everything.
Exactly.
Speaking of presentation, let's talk about the chocolate itself. So we've got our Oreo game plan totally figured out.
Yes.
But what about the chocolate itself?
Right.
Does this recipe like have strong opinions about what kind of chocolate we should be using?
It does offer some guidance, which I always appreciate.
Okay.
For the milk chocolate version, it recommends using semi-sweet chocolate chips.
Okay.
But it doesn't get too specific beyond that.
Oh, okay.
So like if you have a go-to brand,
Right.
this is your chance to let it shine.
Okay, so brand loyalty is encouraged here.
Exactly.
I like it. What about the white chocolate? Any guidelines there?
Yeah, so interestingly, it calls for a full 12 ounces of white chocolate chips.
Okay.
Or you can measure out 2 cups.
Okay.
It seems like they're aiming for a slightly richer white chocolate flavor to balance out the sweetness of the Oreos,
Okay.
which I think is a smart
Yeah,
move.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, here's something that surprised me a little bit.
Okay.
The recipe mentions that you don't need a candy thermometer for this fudge. Is that, normal? I always thought fudge was a little more high maintenance than that.
You're not wrong.
Okay.
Some fudge recipes can be a little fussy,
Right.
but what's great about this one is that it relies on simple techniques and careful observation rather than fancy equipment.
So you're saying it's practically foolproof?
I think so.
Okay, I'm listening.
Good.
But seriously, like, how can you be sure that the fudge is setting correctly without a thermometer?
Right. So it all comes down to understanding how the chocolate behaves.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about the importance of low and slow heating
Yes.
and constant stirring?
Right.
That's key here.
Okay.
So when that melted chocolate is smooth and glossy, you've hit that sweet spot.
Okay.
You're good to go.
Okay. That makes me feel better. No, like, pressure cooker situations here. Thank goodness.
Exactly.
So once the fudge has chilled and set,
Yes.
what is the best way to cut it into those, like, perfect little squares?
Okay, so a large sharp knife is your best friend here.
Okay.
The recipe suggests peeling away the foil before cutting, which I think makes things a lot easier. And this is crucial.
Okay.
Make sure that fudge is completely chilled.
Okay.
Because if you try to cut it while it's still warm, you're going to end up with a sticky, messy situation.
Nobody wants that.
Now,
Speaking of keeping things fresh,
yes,
the recipe mentions storing the fudge in an airtight container in the fridge, especially in humid climates.
right.
Which makes sense because nobody wants melty fudge.
Melty fudge is sad fudge.
Exactly.
Yes.
But enough about storage. Let's talk flavor.
Okay.
Because I am getting really excited about this recipe's potential.
Yeah.
I mean, it even says you can use different Oreo flavors.
Yes.
Mint Oreos, golden Oreos. Like, the possibilities are kind of endless.
Right. And don't forget about all the other mix-in options.
Oh, like what?
Chopped nuts, dried cranberries, toffee bits. You could really let your creativity run wild.
Oh man, now you're speaking my language. I'm already imagining salted caramel Oreo fudge with pretzel pieces.
Ooh, yes. Drool.
See, the possibilities are truly endless. This recipe isn't just a set of instructions.
Right.
It's a launch pad for your own Oreo fudge adventures.
This is why I love a good recipe deep dive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
It's not just about like following the instructions. It's
Yeah.
about understanding like the why behind the how,
Exactly.
you know, and this recipe really delivers on that.
Absolutely. It's like the recipe creator is saying, hey, I'm giving you a solid foundation here,
Right.
but don't be afraid to make it your own.
Yes. So to recap, we've got a recipe that's like easy to follow, adaptable to like different preferences, and perfect for those of you who, like me, like to get a little creative in the kitchen.
But more importantly, we've uncovered some like key insights about fudge making in general.
Exactly. And, you know, this deep dive has been a great reminder that even the simplest recipes can be like incredibly rewarding.
Okay.
And sometimes it's those simple classic treats that bring us the most joy.
Beautifully said. Okay, folks, there you have it.
Yes.
Whether you're a milk chocolate purist, a white chocolate fanatic, or a little bit of both, this Oreo fudge recipe is a guaranteed crowd pleaser.
Absolutely.
Now, if you excuse me, I've got some Oreo crushing to do.